Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Orthodox Banter with Bojan. I'm the Bojan in question. I'm a reader of the Serbian Orthodox Church and I'm here to answer any questions that you might have that pertain to Eastern Orthodox practice and theology from my own knowledge and experience. Today's question comes from Nan. Can you do a video about fake speaking in tongues? Thank you for your question, Nan. This is a question that might really annoy any of my Pentecostal audience, so I apologize in advance. But if you know that I'm an Orthodox Christian, you definitely know what's coming. Orthodox, to put it plainly, are not fans of speaking of tongues, especially as it is practiced in the Pentecostal churches of today. In fact, a lot of Orthodox Christians would claim that these are direct results of demonic influence. I shall elaborate. When we read the epistles of Apostle Paul, we see that he himself was not a huge fan of this gift as it was practiced in the apostolic times. And we can even discuss at length what these gifts were. However, he does say that he would rather speak 5 words with his mind than thousands with his tongue. And again, he mentions a number of misuses of this gift. Now, over time, Orthodox Church has really developed the art and craft of prayer, and that is where spiritual sobriety and discernment really comes into play. The fathers of the Orthodox Church constantly emphasize that our emotions play no role and should, that is, must, play no role in our spiritual life. We should not pray because we enjoy prayer. We must not pray because we do not feel like it, and the devil will ensure we do not feel like it. When one speaks in tongues, it is my absolute impression that this is done during a sort of an emotional high, which is precisely the state one should try to avoid, or at very least not tap into during prayer, because prayer is communication with the Lord. It should be done with a pure mind. Us humans are passionate creatures. We are tossed to and fro by our mind, by our hormones, by our emotions, by the phases of the moon, by the weather outside, by the content we've consumed, and so on. That is why I'm not a huge fan of basing sort of my spiritual life on watching an inspiring movie or reading an inspiring book, because those things lead to a sort of fake emotional highs when prayer seems easy. However, when we pray when it is easy, then we will ditch prayer the sooner when it becomes difficult. And again, Satan will ensure that it becomes very difficult. This is especially, however, this is especially true with tongues, because you have no idea what is being said, and honestly, it could be anything. I once got a question, I think on this channel, where somebody did a challenge on TikTok, where they were supposed to repeat what the other person was saying, and it turns out that they were confessing the Muslim creed and were sort of became Muslims, even though from what I've seen from Muslim scholars, people need to understand what's actually being said in order to technically become a Muslim. So the joke's on them. But still, if a human being can trick you into saying whatever, then we need to ask ourselves, what can a spiritual being do to you, and not a benign one, you know? Prayer is a risky thing, especially because I believe that everyone who's ever prayed knows that once you finish prayer, you do feel good. Well, there is something exalted and elevated about it, and this is fine. When I say that we should not tap into our emotional highs, I'm not necessarily dismissing them as bad. However, they shouldn't be our reason for prayer, you know. I think that it is maybe a small token, or at least a sign that prayer in general is good. But as a lot of saints do say, that our prayer is most powerful when we do not feel like praying, precisely because we are forcing ourselves to do it, you know. Imagine a friend comes to your house when there is this horrible blizzard outside, everything's frozen, there's rain, and that friend comes in cheerful and says, oh yeah, but I so wanted to see you, I came. That's precisely why we should pray when we're sort of feeling this spiritual dryness. However, when a friend comes and the first thing he or she says to you, oh yeah, I came because the weather was so nice and I had a direct, for example, bus line, otherwise I wouldn't have come. You know, a bit of an issue there. So again, a lot of Orthodox would say that this is a demonic temptation, that it should not be done because it serves no purpose. We should pray again with our heart, through purified mind, and that is a mind that isn't tossed by emotional highs that even tend to and these emotional highs is something that is very typical of some brands of Protestant worship, you know, worship bands, very emotional, inspiring testimonies and sermons and you know, bands and everything. Each one of these individually isn't all that problematic, but their point in these denominations is, you know, to elevate you, to inspire you. Again, not a problem, but when it becomes a cause for prayer, when you tap into it, then it becomes problematic. I think I've said all I have. I'm pretty sure that more educated people than me can answer this better, but again, that is not something that's practiced in the Orthodox Church. As far as the Orthodox are concerned, the sole gift of tongues is when we speak in a language and another person understands us in our own language, in their own language, for the purposes of exalting God and edifying the church. And this is extraordinarily rare. There are cases of this, of course, even with modern saints. I can't remember which one of the elders, was it Paisios or maybe Saint Silwan, who spoke to a foreign man without a translator, even if neither man knew the language the other was speaking. But that is one case of the gift of tongues, you know. But praying in tongues, what's the point of it? When you ask yourself, what's the point of praying something you do not know what you're even saying? Why do not say it in English, in Serbian, in whatever language you're saying? You know, can't the Spirit tell you that in a language you understand? Ask yourselves that. Bye.